Greetings, greetings. Glad to have you all here with us with another segment of Run Tell That. Tonight we will be doing I will say, special show, a show with regards to conversation with regards to COVID. We have two additional guests that'll be with joining us tonight. Last week we had Chef BJ Dennis and Chef Quasi Brownlee. Prior to that, we had the great sister Daniela Extraordinary Shives. Then before that, we had Brother Aunt Maven putting it on. Then also we began this month with regard to our sister Candace Monroe Briggs. So this one, I have to share the people with people out there who are checking out the program, who saw a video done by me earlier today with regards to tied to COVID. So yes, I have been one of the victims of COVID, and that even though some of us are protecting ourselves, we're looking out for ourselves. We have our hand sanitizer, we have our wipes, we have all that with us, but we still go into environments that sometimes are not that protected. And so for myself, I experience it because that's a part of the show. What we're dealing with is that tell you my experience with regards to COVID, what I endured, what I've experienced, and what I'm still right now. As I tell folks, I'm in COVID limbo, absolutely COVID limbo. And so for myself, I was exposed to COVID, again, in an environment that we control. And when I say we control, I'm saying us, people of color, we control the environments, but sometimes we are failing our people. We are failing us. Even though some of us may not listen, some of us may not want to wear masks, some of us, we still have a duty and an obligation to educate the people as to why they need to do it and what should be happening. But then it goes beyond the education now to make sure that we are sanitizing and taking care of the environments that we're in. We have people coming to our environments, but then we're not having a concern for them. So that means that even some of you who are out there who are doing everything possible to make sure that you're safe, that when you get home, you're dropping off your clothes. I mean, you're taking off your clothes, you're washing your clothes, you're washing off also, you're doing your saline solutions, you're doing all of that. But guess what? You go into environments where other people are not respecting the necessity of safety, of sanity, of being, I will say, COVID free. So for myself, what I then experienced, being notified that I was possibly exposed to COVID, I then went and took a test. I had taken a test before. The test before I had taken was negative, but this time when I took the test, what occurred for me was that I had a runny nose. I have sinus issues. So nothing unusual for me to go around the lake, to go jogging, go walking, and for my nose to run at some point. Didn't think anything of it. So what happened after I had my COVID test, I then received notification that I tested positive for the coronavirus. Of course, I'm like, okay. I'm thinking it's not as bad for me because again, I didn't experience the headaches. But there was something that I did experience that I thought was tied to something else. I thought I experienced vertigo, I mean vertigo, excuse me. Vertigo is the is the skin. But I thought I was experiencing vertigo because I became lightheaded. Soon as I had finished exercising and gone around the lake, I now was lightheaded, and I thought, okay, maybe I overextended myself, which wasn't. I said to myself, this is not an unusual walk and run for me. What then began to happen later on, my head became more cloudy. Then I started saying to myself, like, wait a minute, I think I might be high. And literally, some of you know, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. So I'm like saying, this is like when you're on a high. And so now I am lightheaded, but still not understanding that that's tied to COVID. What then arose then after that, I'm now having a little bit more of my cough, but with the cough, it's not a dry cough. And because I'm looking at all the signs they say about COVID, severe headaches, nausea, vomit, diarrhea, the fever, the low grade fever, the breathing issues, loss of taste, loss of smell, chills, appetite suppression. So I'm checking those things out, and that's what I'm looking for. And then the dry cough. My cough is not dry, so I'm thinking that all it is still my sinuses and allergies still draining into my throat. So I'm experiencing that. Later on, I had a low grade fever that was intermittent, wasn't anything great, but a low grade fever. Now things begin to go to another level. I'm thinking because again, I'm still lightheaded, but then I began to experience something that I couldn't sleep. I thought literally I went to bed, it was like about 11 something, woke up thinking that it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. It is not 4 o'clock in the morning, it's just after midnight. I then doze off. I'm thinking again, it's like maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just like 1:15. Now I'm trying to figure out why am I not able to sleep? Because now I'm not sleeping at all. I'm in the bed. And so then I now have to start doing my own research. And so when I do the research, I find out that there is something called COVID insomnia. Not only did I find out about COVID insomnia, I also find out there's something called COVID lightheadedness, that there's this fog, that there's this cloud with regards to COVID. And I'm saying, wait a minute, this is not what they're saying with the other symptoms, because I'm not having the headaches. I'm not having, this massive fever. I'm not having all of that. So now I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Now the next day comes about, and I'm taking my herbs, I'm taking my vitamins, I'm taking my stuff. I'm taking even some cold and flu medication, taking all that. But then now I experience having night sweats. I know my body is not fighting with regards to the illness, to the virus, and I'm like, okay, having the night sweats. But then it goes beyond night sweats. Now what happened? I actually began to experience hot flashes. Hot flashes. I'm a male. During hot flashes, we identify with females, that females go through that when they change their life. I'm not having hot flashes. I'm laying in the bed and I'm sweating in the bed. I rise out of the bed, sit up. Now the sweat is pouring off of me. I walk into the bathroom. Now it's almost, I am so drenched and I am sweating so much. It is as if I had been jogging around Lake Mare, walking around Lake Mare in 100 degrees weather in Savannah. The sweat is pouring off of me, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? So now I'm exploring, finding out about the COVID hot flashes and the COVID night sweats. And again, I'm saying to myself, no one is talking about this. Nobody shared any of this. And so still, yeah, with the lightheadedness, having the low grade fever, but then it's still, yeah, I can still smell and I can still taste. And I had to throw a shout out, and I did it in the video with regard to my daughter. When I told my daughter that I had COVID, she immediately jumped on it with regards to getting me food. I didn't think it was any big deal. Her mother, Kaisha Musgrove, they're now ordering the food. My sister's like saying, "What do you need?" I said, "Well, I'm out of my lemons. I'm running low on my lemons." So my sister getting me lemons. I'm not thinking anything about this. But something funny began to happen is that I noticed that I wasn't eating. So I did know that suppression of the appetite comes into play. And they say it's a gastrointestinal issue. So that's what I'm thinking, gastrointestinal. What then happens is that is now my daughter has even ordered me food. Now what starts happening? The food is outside, dropped off by Instacart. I don't even want to open up my door to get the groceries that my daughter had ordered for me. My sister dropped off the lemons. I don't even want to open the door to get the lemons. I'm not thinking much about that. So I do get the groceries, put them inside. You know, they got some fruits because I like, people who know me know I like mangoes, I like watermelons. So they got me watermelons, they got me mangoes, got me kiwis. I like kiwis also. So I like take a piece of the watermelon, a slip of the watermelon, taste it. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't want this. Taste a piece of the mango. I don't like this. And what began to happen, that is not just about appetite suppression, it now goes deeper than the physiological stuff. And as I talked with some friends of mine, medical doctor friend of mine also put it out there. Now it was even psychologically, because what now happened? I began to say, I don't need to eat. I don't want to eat. And this literally, I'm saying, being up front, I'm not even wanting to eat, even though now, no matter, because again, I generally try to live a healthy lifestyle. I know I need to eat. But there's a part of my mind now telling me that I do not need to eat. And so there's something else I began to experience also at night, was that even between the insomnia, I will fall asleep, but I began to experience something what people call, well, I call it COVID delusional dreams. Delusional dreams, repeated delusional dreams, cyclical delusional dreams. And so I had to look this up. And so I found that there is something called COVID delusion. So now, not only lightheadedness, but now I'm now getting delusional with regards to the dreams. But now I began to realize that the delusion is not even affecting me with regards to want me to throw out the groceries inside my house. That literally, my mind is telling me when I'm in the kitchen to take the groceries that had just been acquired, that has just been dropped off, or had been there for a day, to go into my refrigerator, put them in the trash bag, and put them in the garbage can. And I'm saying, Jamal, this is deep. Jamal, you know you need to eat something. So I had to force myself to eat. And then even drinking something, even forcing myself, even though I got my Life of Last and I got all that, I got my teas right here. I got my turmeric, I got my ginger, got that. Got my green tea, and I'm rejecting the water. I'm not even wanting to drink the water. And that's when I realized this thing is deeper than just saying that you have appetite suppression with regards to COVID, because it affects you with regards to psychologically. And what happened for people, just to share this with you, that when you are there in the house, quarantine, you're by yourself, no one else is there, depression begins to happen because you're there. You got to go through that day. Yes, you might be working, doing other things, but it's not the same with regard to that human interaction that you're not seeing people. Even driving your car, even going out to the streets, you're losing all that interaction. And then you're saying to yourself, well, I said to myself, I still got to go through this for another 10 days, another 12 days. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make it with regards to this right here. You can look at TV and all the Netflix all you want. You can look at all the sports, but still yet you're not having the interaction. And so now I can begin to see where people now begin to have depression because of COVID, because of that isolation. But then something else occurred too that, again, people don't discuss. Something called erectile dysfunction. And for the men, because I know a lot of men not having the conversation, not discussing at all. The erectile dysfunction is something that occurs because in the morning, for many men, you know you wake up with a morning erection. You know that occurs. With COVID, it doesn't happen at all. I had to do research with regards to that, and looking that up, what I then discovered with regards to that, the immune system is doing everything in its power to fight this illness, doing everything in its power to fight this virus, this new thing that has not come, that is not experienced before. So the immune system is directing everything to it. So that's why, with regards to men and erectile dysfunction, that's what's now occurring. That the body now is no longer concerned about that. Everything else is secondary. The body is now literally about survival. The immune system is now fighting and is about pure, absolute survival. So that's something that came up. I had to realize that and go through that. And I thought, wow, okay. So now I'm experiencing the chills. Occasionally my nose will run, getting tied to the allergies, had the coughing, but then it's not a dry cough, it's a wet cough. I have my taste, I have my sense of smell, I have the COVID hot flashes, the COVID sweating, the night sweats. I have the COVID delusional thinking, the COVID delusional dreams. I have the lightheadedness. So all this is going on, but something else began to occur. And I shared this, and that's why one of my guests, that he and I had this conversation, that the toxins that were coming out of my body, the perspiration that was occurring, that my body has such an odor that, and again, it wasn't saying tied to feces, it's just that the pollutants in my body is not coming out. And I'm like, wow. And so what occurred, even for some people, they don't even want to wash with regards to this, because psychologically, as I tell you, things are happening to you that normally would not be your routine, things that you know better. And so you got to then go force yourself, even at times, to go wash, to even go take a shower. And this, I'm experiencing all of this. And what then happens for me, I'm now realizing that these issues are issues that are generally not talked about, but people are experiencing them and not realizing that these are symptoms of COVID. So I'm going through all this, and then I realized something that took it to another level. And I got confirmation today when I talked to one of my friends, a medical doctor. I gave the analogy when I was doing the video earlier. I had discussed that what happened for me was that I realized that when COVID is going on and that your entire immune system is now fighting and directing everything to fight this force that is never experienced before, everything is directed to that. So now I'm sitting up there while I'm doing my research and I'm looking at this, and just like I put 2 and 2 together and came up with 5, how it was tied to the erectile dysfunction. And then I realized, hey, Jamal, guess what? That's not just with regard to that part of your body. It's all parts of your body right now. Your brain and everything, even physically, are all now tied in, and everything is geared towards fighting COVID. So other things now become secondary. So that's why when people talk about these underlying issues that are out there with regard to people who have COVID, the diabetes, the hypertension, the high cholesterol, the obesity. I tell people, as I gave the analogy, it is like you're at recess, you're on the playground, and you got this kid that's out there, this new kid that has not come to the school, and this child is almost demonic in their behavior, so outlandish and outrageous in their behavior. You don't know, the teacher doesn't know what to expect on how to deal with this child. This child just goes off board, just half-cocked, doing anything. So now while on the playground, the teacher now got to focus on this demonic child, this behavior that they don't know what will happen. But you got some other kids out there also. Let's say you got 4 kids out there. One is obesity. One is hypertension. One is high cholesterol. One is diabetes. So those other 4 kids are out there, and guess what? They're left to their own device. They are problematic too, but the teacher and your entire body is no longer focusing on the other 4, but mainly focused on that demonic child, that demonic system. And so that's what happened. Now I realize that people with those underlying issues, what occurred for you, actually what's going on with regards to COVID, your immune system is trying to fight that, but now you are now becoming weak and prone because there's nothing now to fight off the diabetes and the hypertension. And when I shared this, one of my friends, a medical doctor, checked out the video, and he said, man, Jamal, he said, that's the best analogy with regards to this. He said, I try to explain this to people. He said, but your analogy. And so that then hit me. That, again, is not just with regard to men, how you're feeling, and women probably something similar is happening. But now with all of us, that this COVID is so real that it now takes the entire immune system the task with regards to your immune system is doing a yeoman's job to fight this. But then something happened, as I shared in the last part of the video, that I now began to realize something, that with regards to my family members, my relatives, like for instance, my father in particular, that my father's last days here on earth, before he made the transition to become a part of the ancestral realm and go into the afterlife, that my father basically stopped eating. And while I'm going through the throes and the issues that I'm not experiencing with regards to not being able to eat, going through all those issues, having all those issues with regard to my mind telling me not to eat, I started saying, that's daddy. That's Bra Jim. That's auntie them. That's grandmama them. Because what's going on in those last days, the food is not, they're not concerned about food anymore. That is secondary. That your body and your mind is not even focused on food, not even wanting to deal with food. And I'm like, wow. And that's when also they're saying, get ice cubes and put it on their lips. You make sure, because you're not even wanting to drink. So for a millisecond in time, I not experienced what my family members who passed away, what they were going through. Because for some of us, with regards to COVID, this is happening to us. We are in the throes of a life and death matter. Now, again, my situation is not as grave as some other people who had the breathing issues and all that. That's why I say I have mad respect for them with regards to that. But this is something that occurs, but people don't talk to us about it. And we can ill afford not to know about this. That's why I have been waiting to do this video with regards to talk about this. And I said, okay, once I'm cleared of COVID, I'm going to do the video. But guess what happened for me? That I go first, because now they tell you about testing. They tell you do the testing. 10 days isolation. The 11th day, they tell you take your temperature to make sure you don't have a fever. That wasn't a fever reduced based on the fact that you took medication. So I did that. So I then waited to the 12th day instead to go and take the test. So I go and see the physicians. I go get the test done. I'm thinking, okay, I'm straight. I get my test results the next day. It's not saying inconclusive. And I might say, wait a minute, I isolated 10 days, then did the 11th day, isolated the 12th day also. I said, well, guess maybe I got to go to the 14th day. I didn't go and do the 14th day and go on the 15th day, actually, then take the test again. Guess what? The test comes back inconclusive again. So now I got to do research, and the information that I get, they're saying that because even though you are now progressing, the COVID is now leaving your system, remnants are still right there. So that's why they can't go and say that the test is negative. They're still going to say inconclusive. As again, a medical doctor friend of mine went and shared with me saying that what it is, you're no longer able to carry it. You're no longer a transport for the trait. That's what it is. You have it in you, but it's just like someone else. If they gave birth, that again, the signs will still be there, but even though you're no longer a carrier. So that's why for myself, I'm in this COVID limbo right now. I went and took another test today. So then that way, hopefully now this test is going to clear me and say I'm free of COVID. That's why I was trying to wait to do the test. But then I realized how urgent and how important this is. I'm saying to folks right now, if someone wants to take their vaccine, you should not discourage people from taking their vaccine, especially those people who've gone through it. You have not experienced some of this right here, and it's easy for you to talk about it on the outside. If you've seen individuals that, hey, that they've gone through it, and they now decide that they no longer want to go through that process, guess what? You let them go ahead and do what they need to do. If you choose not to take the vaccine, that's your choice and that's your decision. I'm not telling people either way with regards. I say that this is a free will decision right here, but you cannot bash people who have gone through it. I understand the historical context with regards to African people and experimentation that happened with regards to medical apartheid. I understand it, and I talk about this and discuss this. I understand it, but then I also understand the other element. When we have a segment of our population not even looking out for us. I'm talking about leadership. See, a lot of times we look at leadership just being political leadership. I'm talking about people supposed to be leaders in environments that are not causing those environments to be safe. We're looking at people who walk around here individually You are responsible. You think just to yourself. No, it's not. You're responsible to other people also because you are a carrier at times. You are bringing that into the atmosphere. You're giving it to folks, and that becomes problematic for people. And so that's when people such as myself, even though as healthy as I try to maintain my lifestyle, that again, I become susceptible to this illness, to this disease called COVID. No matter how much I thought I had together, guess what? I wasn't protected. I was still susceptible. And I say to people, you don't discourage them and don't come about no no conspiracy theories and that COVID is not real. COVID is real. There are a number of people that we know who have passed away from COVID. And I dare say, and have said this before, that there are people that I think died of COVID related issues prior to people not diagnosing and saying that. Because I would dare say the numbers are even higher. And that we coming from places such as Florida, where again, is our carte blanche, do whatever you want to do. People come from the Atlanta metropolitan area, some of them not doing anything to protect other people. So when they come here to us, so now we get damaged and we get hurt. It's problematic. And I tell people, we gotta be concerned about one another. And I'm gonna throw it out there right now. I had the luxury of being blessed with having a sister, having a mother, having a daughter, and having my daughter's mother, all having the concern to make sure that I was taken care of. But there are other people out there right now who some of y'all know there's no one around them. I had to give honor and pride to also to family members and friends, and even co-workers who later on when they found out, because I kept it hush hush, I kept it low, because that's what some of us have done. We kept it low with regard to what we experienced regarding COVID. So when people found out and how they've been reacted with regards to even some of you, when I put the video out, how people reacted, I'm like saying, I'm good, but guess what? I'm concerned about those people out there who don't have that support. Those people out there who are lonely, who are isolated. As I tell you, COVID depression is real. And that those people not isolated, there's no telling what other things are going on. Even for myself, for me to know that I need to eat, I need to drink, that I not go and make a decision that I need to throw food out my house. Imagine what it's like for those people who don't have a support system. Because my daughter's asking me on a daily basis, what did you eat for breakfast? What did you eat for lunch? What did you eat for dinner? And when I hadn't eaten breakfast yet, it's 1 o'clock in the day. You haven't eaten. Why haven't you eaten? And she's on me like this 19-year-old is on me. And I saw where the roles actually reversed. Now she's not taking over as the adult guide for me on how to function. So I give mad respect and mad love to my daughter with regard to she stepped up to the plate, something I couldn't even imagine. But again, I go back to those people who have not had, who don't have those people in their lives. That's something that's real. And we got to be concerned about one another. And I'm going to say this right now. To African people, we can ill afford to be selfish. See, we get concerned about, again, about the vaccine, about the illness and all the conspiracy stuff, all that. But we fail to look at the reality in cases with regard to people who are just left out there floundering. And so, yes, that makes it easy for them to sink because I saw in myself where I can absolutely sink. Now, one of the people that I want to have on here, and he could probably be delayed because he's training folks, is Coach Sam Carter. Coach Sam Carter and I have the conversations because for myself, as I shared, that I have been engaged in training since the latter part of last year, and that's with via Coach Carter. So I began to lose weight naturally, and then also began to develop some muscle mass. And so that's a part of the process. But then what occurred when I stopped eating, I lost more weight than what any training that I had gone through. And so when I looked at what happened was that I no longer was even looking healthy. My body was now ravaged based on COVID because I had stopped eating. And so I share with folks this, that for some of us, and some people who know me again, you all know I eat no red meat, I eat no pork, generally I try to eat less processed food, but I slipped and allowed myself to eat more processed food. So with regards to that Coach Carter and I had these conversations prior to this, that again, he was like saying, do not drink your calories. Don't drink your calories. Then also saying, making sure that we're eating foods, not processed foods. So with regards to that, you begin to see reduction of your weight, drinking water, getting the fluids, getting rid of the sodas and all of that. Now I do, like I tell him, I say, hey, listen, for my life of lasting tea, I do drink honey. He's like, okay, as long as you're getting the honey, for your life of lasting tea. So we've had these conversations, and that what I dare go and say for myself, I feel that one, I was blessed with regards to lifestyle. And I would just say people like Ferrante Frazier and other people who are out there, that brother Najee Enzi, other brothers and sisters out there, understand about the importance of lifestyle and diet. Sometimes we make it a joke with regards to our diet and how we eat. We brush stuff off. That's why I say I even let myself go for a year eating things that I know I shouldn't have always been eating. But again, I say when it comes down to it, I dare say the dietary habits help with regards to being able to fight off COVID. Coach Carter and I had these conversations. He said that people, if you now begin to start in the process of losing weight, that's going to help your immune system, because we understand your immune system is tied to that. Your immune system is stronger and better when you begin losing weight. We're not saying do drastic weight changes. We're just saying begin to modify your diet, begin to take in the things that are healthy with regards to you being able to withstand any other illnesses that are that's coming into your life. That again, you begin to lose weight, and that just like with regards to this vaccine, that is doing some of the same things that you could do in your immune system merely by losing weight, by eating right, making healthy choices with regards to how you are eating. Not to say that you got to be perfect. We're not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But at least doing the things that will help you with regards to the long run of being able to fight off and help build up your immunity. The immune system is key, and that has become something important. And what occurred, like one of the things also people know that I like nuts. In particular, I like cashews and almonds. Almonds first, cashews second. And so Coach Carter and I had these conversations about this. What then happened? When I told him about the nuts that I eat, he said, eat walnuts first. He said the first nut, the best nut to eat, is walnuts. He said walnuts, then second is almonds, then after that cashews. So guess what? As I'm having a conversation with a physician friend, unbeknownst to him, he's talking to me. He was like, Jamal, I tell people they need to make sure they're eating walnuts. Get walnuts into your system. The selenium, because again, some of this is tied to your neurons, the movements with regards to the nerves being able to move and probably be able to handle some of this. And when he talked about the walnuts, I said, listen, I said, Coach Carter and I had these conversations and we discussed this. We talked about this, and he said about the walnuts. He said, I think you got a good person. That's why I wanted to have Coach Carter on here to again talk about what are some of the things physiologically that we need to be doing right now to protect and save ourselves and fight off this dreaded illness called COVID that is real and it's a part of our lives. It's changed the dynamics. We think it's just tied to with regards to working and with regards to our socialization. But guess what? It's impacting us with regards to our physical being. I know some people have some questions about some things. And absolutely, we're in a crisis right now. We are absolutely in a crisis, and that some people are not taking it as serious with regards to the knowledge of what you need to do to protect yourself, because some of you can do right at home. And so, and again, interesting conversation that I had with someone. The conversation was tied to that this person was merely focused on the vaccine. But then the trainer then told the person, what about losing weight? What about losing weight? And it was just like the person told me that the trainer said it was just like that. They got silent. Even though their spouse is a medical doctor and they focus on the vaccine, the trainer then said, what about losing weight? Will that not help your immune system? So they're sitting there. So that's why I say it's crucial for us to now understand we got to take care of ourselves. And the question is posed about, will COVID go away? I did say that at this point, it is there with us, but then I believe that it will be something that will not have the same impact as it is having on the lives of people right now today. That the impact of it will be different, but then a part of it is tied to education. It is tied to knowledge, as Brother Frazier was saying, that again, the knowledge of how to take care of ourselves, the information that Coach Carter puts out there with regards to us being able to take care of ourselves. That again, how you can now take control of your life. And guess what? This is not tied just to COVID, but it's tied to hypertension, it's tied to diabetes, it is tied to obesity, it is tied to high cholesterol, it's tied to all the things, those ills that we're dealing with. Because we understand that people, some folks, when they begin to follow just merely to change their diet, that helps them with regards to that. when they begin to engage in some exercise, not to say that you have to be a bodybuilder, not to say that you have to be an Olympic marathon runner, that be a swimmer. But again, when you when you begin to do some things, it is helping your body. If you do nothing, nothing will occur. If you do something, something will occur that at times will be better for you. And again, as my good friend will say, that COVID will be minimized, but COVID will be minimized by us taking action. Good question. Like, where was I? I was in an environment that, a public environment that other people are there too. And again, to share this with you, I was using my hand sanitizer, I was using my wipes, all of that. And so I'm in this environment. And what I now find out later on, that the environment was not COVID safe. It may not have been cleansed properly, may have been other issues going on that, again, or it may have been that the people who were coming into that environment, again, this public environment, that some of them wasn't taking COVID, thinking it serious. Because I've said to people that, even again, and some people in tourism may not like this, I have said to folks that you going down in the city market, you're going down on River Street, you're going to some of these establishments with folks, people not wearing their masks and people thinking it's okay. And Mayor Johnson, all the women, the older men have been pushing that we need to be wearing the mask and we need to follow the science. They have been saying this, and some of us as business owners, we tend to reject that. When we are operating institutions as a business, and understand some institutions are operated as a business, even though they are not businesses. So what happened? We become somewhat lax with regards to how we not mandate to people with regard to their safety and the safety of others. So for myself, I'm in an environment whereas it was not as safe as it should have been, even though I was doing all that I can to be safe for myself, wearing my mask, having my sanitizer, having my wipes, but then others were not taking it serious. And that's why I share, folks, that's why it becomes so crucial for us to understand that you do impact the lives of other people. You think it's just about you? No, it is not about you. You can impact the lives of other people. You're in these environments with regards to even your clothing and other items that, again, the spread, the touching and all of that, again, people thinking they're taking care of themselves and instead becoming conduits for passing on COVID. And then some people, their immune system not being attacked. So for myself, again, I thought I was safe, being the best person as possible with regards to this. And again, going into environments that sometimes we cannot control. Again, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we can't control. We can't control what that other person is doing at times. But it becomes important for us to educate people with regards to this, why we need to be responsible. That when you're downtown Savannah and you see a person doing the tour and the tour guide doesn't have a mask on, and in addition, that the people on the tours don't have a mask on, and everybody thinks it's okay. No, we need to address that. We need to have law enforcement or whoever, people who are doing citations, that not issue tickets with regards to that. When we see people who are just in these environments, they're not sitting in environments eating anything like that. They're not there drinking, but they're just out there. And so you're creating this cacophony. You're creating this atmosphere of toxic pollution that's tied to COVID. And I'm just going to say like that. Toxic pollution tied to this thing that we know and we call COVID. So it becomes important for us to be the people who are going to champion the cause. So that's why for myself, I said I had to address this and be a champion of the cause with regards to this, because others are being silent. That again, people not talking about the insomnia, people not talking about the lightheadedness. And so, and one of the things that made me ponder about this on the lightheadedness, as I said that for myself, I'm asking myself, saying like, wow, am I high? It's like, this feel like I'm high. There are people who are operating machines under that same sensation, not necessarily aware they're operating vehicles under that same sensation. Can you imagine the possibilities and the chances of someone being injured based on an accident because somebody has experienced something called COVID lightheadedness, but nobody ever talked about it. Then the insomnia. People not realize that some of the insomnia that they may be experiencing may be tied to COVID. And some people, again, discussing that they hadn't had a test done. Some people haven't gone to take a test, and some people almost braggadocious about not taking a test. I'm like saying, no, even for myself, prior to this moment, I still made sure to go through a test because I have a mother who's an elder. I need to be concerned about her. But then not only that, because I'm around other people, I know I need to be concerned about other people too. That I don't want to be a conduit. I don't be a cause of a spread for them now to be impacted, but then also that their lives are impacted, not just for themselves, but also even for family members. The question is posed about schools being open. Now, I'll say this just to be frank with you. When you have school systems who are more concerned, remember, I feel point out there about that there are institutions that operate on a business model or business mindset. So those are some of those types of institutions, some of those places. So what happened when you now have people who are elected officials, some who are appointed officials, some who are hired officials in school systems, and they now go and say, send the children back to school. You have some parents saying, send the children back to school. But again, as I said, you have people coming from environments that are not clean and safe environments. And so you're not sending them to school. And so now what happened? Folks now are exposed even more. That I tell folks what any school system should be doing, they need to assess their situation and assess the environments that they're going to have school children in, and that the school children where they are coming from. You must do an assessment with regards to that. Why you must do the assessment? Because you don't then want to have a super spreader because of situations. I found out even with regards to me doing the video, I have a relative that everyone, and she's a school teacher, that she was impacted in her own household with regards to COVID, that now people in her household also impacted by COVID. Powerful. And that's why I'm saying, again, the concern about the schools opening, that is a legitimate concern. And people should think about that. Elected officials should be considerate and not be politicians right now, but serve the people, because politicians, their jobs are to serve their electorate. They're not supposed to tell us what to do, but they're supposed to serve their electorate. And so that becomes important for us to make sure that the politicians are following the science, as been said here in Chatham County in Savannah, and not do it because of the whims of their friends, their co-workers, or their family members who have businesses and have other enterprises tied to the school system and tied to other institutions, because it's merely about money for them. For me, it's about life. I'm going to repeat. For me, it's about life. For others, it's about money. It's money for them, but for me, it's about life. And it's about us maintaining the lives of everyone, because we know people who have gone through this process who right now are no longer with us. And that's why I was going to do a moment of silence at the end with regards to those people who are no longer with us because of COVID, and that they got caught into a political football. Again, politicians playing games, and then officials who are now appointed or hired to work in these elected in these governmental capacities, and they play football with the lives of the electorate, the lives of the people. No matter how you play the game, no matter how much you want to go and say you don't need to wear a mask, that is absolutely incorrect, and it goes against the science. It goes against knowledge that we go and we want to be braggadocious about political philosophies when political philosophies can kill you. Listen to me again. Political philosophies can kill you. Even if you are innocent, it can kill you. And we have seen that happen with regards to COVID. We have lost lives out here right now because of people playing political games and political football, people not wanting to be serious because, again, of their political philosophy, when other people are not enduring hardships. For now, you have those people who have lost their lives to COVID, but guess what? You still have lingering impacts of COVID on people's lives right now. that people have survived COVID, have gone through the horrors of COVID, have survived it. Their family members have survived it, but those family members are no longer functioning the way that they were functioning previously. Those people are no longer functioning the way that they used to function previously. I'm gonna throw an example out there that somebody who I gonna say that I dare say was impacted by COVID. Even some people disagree with me. I'm gonna say that Cam Newton with New England this year, this past season, I'd say Cam Newton was not Cam Newton. Cam was subjected to COVID, experienced COVID. That's what I go and say. But guess what? I'm not. It's not just the Cam Newtons. I know some of y'all jump on that bandwagon because I say Cam Newton. But guess what? Jamal Turay, even for myself, to let you all know this too, and I was going to bring this up, that I share with you all that even though my lifestyles tell me to be healthy and to maintain my health as best as possible, and that I was saying to myself psychologically, throw the food out, get rid of the food. So I had to fight that, and I know better than that. Guess what? Even today, even on yesterday, even on Monday, when I'm not going through the recovery of COVID, there was still a part of me, even on yesterday, that hit me with, you need to get rid of the food. Still yet, even though, like I told you, I had the suppression of everything, of the appetite physically, as they say, gastrointestinally, but also psychologically, I was like, wait a minute. This is an issue for me, because even right now, I am fighting off still this lingering impact of COVID on my mind to throw out my food. Yeah, literally. Got food delivered to the house. And I'm still thinking, even today, having a thought to throw the food out. So now some other people, they have even greater lingering issues tied to COVID. And what will happen today for me, as I told one of my friends, a medical doctor, and another brother, I shared with them, I said, guess what? I was so happy today. Not as a sister, I told, not the medical doctor. I told sister, I said, I was so happy that today is the first day that my stomach even grumbled and growled. Now, for some people, that might not be significant. From February 1st, I'm going to say at least from February 1st, it may have been January 30th, until now, I've not experienced my stomach growling or grumbling. So for me, that was something like saying, okay, my body's coming back. So that's why for me, it's this great fight with regards to still yet these lingering impacts of other people with regards to COVID. And so, as Julius Hall put out there, that even with regards to what all the stuff that I did, that I still experienced COVID, still all the protections that I would do, still I experienced COVID. And that, yes, there are people who are going to talk about, they talk about and discuss about the airborneness of COVID, the aerosolness of COVID. That, yes, and that's why people around here thinking that this is not real, that you got to take care of yourself. That's why I tell folks, I don't even fight it anymore with regard to people wearing 2 masks. I'm like saying, yes, that's important. I see people wear gloves. That's why even when Roland Martin came here, Roland Martin had on his double mask and had on his gloves. I had to respect that and say that, I'm gonna come back to that about regards to, I think you need to be as healthy and protecting yourself as much as possible, be it if it's from vaccinations to your healthy lifestyle, making sure you manifest in that. So if you're wearing double facial mask and all, wearing even a clear mask also, in addition with regards to wearing gloves. And I've been calling throughout something with regards to the private schools that, again, they don't have problems in the countries of private schools. I would dare say in the state of Georgia, it has been an issue, not just regards to public schools, but also with regards to schools in rural areas and schools also in the private schools. But again, that is the mindset that some people think that, no, they're okay. It's just that in some cases, and just to be frank with you, and some people may not like this, some of it is not being reported. That's another factor that comes into play too, the reporting. And that's why, as I said early on, with regards to myself, that there's someone who I know, somebody dear to me, no matter what folks go and say about how that person passed away, I go and say, that that person was a victim of a COVID experience that occurred, but they were not classifying as such because of it going to this political football that I talked about. That politically, we were not wanting to discuss it. We didn't want to put that out there. So I'm like saying, yes, this person and many other people were impacted by COVID and their lives were lost, but people don't want to talk about it. And so again, we play these games by not reporting information because all information doesn't get reported. And that again, as I threw out there, there's symptoms of COVID that people have experienced, not even being aware of it. That again, I never knew about the insomnia. I didn't think much about the appetite loss. I didn't think about the night sweats. I didn't think about the hot flashes, especially being a male having hot flashes. Insane. You think that's not normal. The delusional thinking, not thinking about that, the COVID lightheadedness, you know. And the question, do I know where I was exposed? I was exposed at a place, a public place that's right here in Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia, a public place that people go to. And so, you know, I'm not begrudging anybody, but I'm saying to everyone, leadership, to the masses of the people, we got to protect ourselves and protect our environments. When we don't protect our environments, that's when it becomes a problem. And so again, so that's what then the problem occurs with regards to us now underreporting information, not putting it out there. We try and make certain places look safe, other places look okay, and other places like, you know, they're like, you know, they are, you know, COVID super spreaders. When in fact, it's some other locations, other locales too, that's not coming up into the conversation. And I tell folks, it becomes crucial for us to have this conversation and put it out there, and for the politicians no longer play with the lives of the people, and for the people not to accept politicians playing with their lives, because that's what's going on. And that's why I say politicians and people who are in charge of the care of our family members, of our children, again, school board members got to take into account, school board employees got to take into account with regards to the care of the children and the young people right there. Because guess what? They come back home and they spread it to their family members, to their relatives, to their grandparents, because we know grandparents are raising children. So we see, and that elderly person, if they got diabetes or hypertension or a high cholesterol or obesity, that person could lose their life. And that's somebody, family member that's lost because we didn't take it serious. And that's why we emphasize to people, COVID is real. COVID is not a joke. Because again, there are people who lost their lives tied to COVID that, again, that we did not think should not. Okay, I'm about the spirituality. It was ordained by the Most High for them to leave at that point in that time. But sometimes the loss of those lives are signs for us in humanity who's still living to understand how to correct those issues. Because yes, those people lost their lives. It was ordained by the Most High at that point, at that time. But there were signs with regards to their lives and their death that we should be now implemented to make sure that others will not go through it. But instead, some of us, we allow it to happen. And that's why I talk about this thing about free will. That is free will with regards to people. If they want to take the vaccine, if they don't want to take the vaccine, it's free will with regards to you having a healthy lifestyle. That is eating right. That is, you know, exercising. It's free will with regards to you, you know, making sure you got the mask on and taking care of not just yourself, but other people. That's why I say free will, to look out for other people, even though it's been mandated in certain areas, in certain municipalities, in certain counties. It's been mandated for protection of the people. That's what it's about, protection of the people, protection of the lives of other people. And it's crucial for us to be about this. Here go again, Adrian Berry threw out a point that someone working around children said that they will not report it, you know, to the employee in time enough. And so that becomes a danger for all of us, becomes an absolute danger. And this show, again, Sanford Stevens was the person I was going to have on the show as a guest, and Coach Sam Carter. They weren't able to join us, but guess what? I still got our points that I think that is crucial for us to understand with regards to COVID, and that some of y'all put in information too that are important with regards to how we need to address this issue, this illness, this pandemic. This is not the first pandemic that we have seen. The Spanish flu going back over 100 years ago. We have seen pandemics hit us, but then we need to learn from how to control, how to make sure people are healthy and safe in these environments. And what we're going to close out our show with regards to period of silence with regards to people who have passed away tied to COVID. But then this period of silence is also tied to not only the people who passed away regarding COVID, but people who have survived COVID also. People who've experienced COVID and gone through the throes of death almost tied to COVID. So again, period of silence, and with regards to reflecting and rejoicing with regards to their lives still being here. And but then also for those people whose lives are in harm's way regarding COVID, that we think about them, reflect upon them, and say thank you. Again, people talk about the frontline workers, again, those people who are out there making sure that we can still function as a society. So we're doing this for everyone. We're doing this for you also. So this moment of silence where we're closing out our show with regards to a moment of silence for a host of people, for you and everyone out there who's experienced this, who's gone through it, and those who are making sure that our society still can function. Thank you. Glad to have y'all join us on this segment of Run Tell That. Run Tell That so that we can be healthy. Run Tell That so we can be protected. Run Tell That that we must look out for one another, that we are responsible for one another, and that we look out for our people. And run Tell That and check on that person who has no one in their family or friends or relatives around them who can look out for them to help make sure that they are safe. We say to y'all, Ashe, peace and blessings. Amen. Run Tell That. Be safe.